Well, as soon as I turned on this camera, it started to rain. So I am going to turn off the camera. I'm going to find a parking place at the shopping center I'm headed to run some errands. And then we're going to chat about a current event that's been kind of bothersome, and it's for me as well as you, I'm sure. And we're going to just chat a bit. Okay, I have a parking place and we're safe now. Out of this, the rain stopped. It's not raining, so I'm happy about that. Of course, I do see some more clouds coming this way, but let's get to the point of why I'm even making this video, because I really gave it a lot of thought as to whether or not I should even touch on this situation. But we're going to talk about the coronavirus and how it is affecting our everyday life, and we're going to talk about coronavirus and travel. And as soon as I get through running this errand, we're going to go back to my house and we're going to have a telephone conference with my good friend and travel agent, and he's going to answer some of my questions. And if you have any questions after you've watched this video that you want to put, if you want to put your questions in the comments, I will be glad to call him, get the answer, and get back to you in the comments section, because I think part of what I'm seeing with this virus is a lot of fear, and I think that the fear is growing faster than the virus, and I believe that people need to know facts. And if you're planning to travel during this time, then you need to know exactly what to expect and what to do. But just to let you know, we were planning a trip and we were supposed to leave in a few weeks. We were going to Japan and South Korea, and we are now canceled. That trip is not going to happen. I don't fear the virus as much as I fear not being able to make port. I fear that a lot of the countries are not sure what to do about these cruise lines. And of course, if you have a cruise line with a lot of ill people on it, most of the ports don't want that coming into their country. So that will all be worked out, and we need to all just be the voice of reason and try to calm people's minds a little bit. I do know that another thing that has concerned me is that yesterday my husband and I went to Costco, and which I like to do, and we go quite often, and they had completely sold out of paper products. I was shocked why people chose paper products to hoard. I don't know, but they apparently have. So I found that unsettling. So between canceling a trip and finding out that people are doing all of this hoarding, I'm just really concerned about this being the hoarding, and the fear that people have is going to cause more problems than the actual virus. So let's all try to calm ourselves a little bit. Now, I do have a heartfelt sympathy for those who have had to deal with this virus, and most of the ones who have had it have come out on the other side being well, but they've had to struggle through it. And hopefully none of my viewers have to deal with this at all, whether it's you or family members. I hope you have no problems with it. I think things will settle out, and it's just going to take a few weeks, and we just all have to be thoughtful of others and not be the one who's going to cause people to panic, because it doesn't take much for some people to get upset. And you have to keep that in mind and consider what you're saying, consider what you're doing. And so we are not going to Japan, we are not going to South Korea. And we have traveled internationally. I've traveled internationally all of my life and have never canceled a trip due to illnesses abroad. Now, not even for political unrest have I ever canceled a trip. But with things the way they are, and the uncertainty of it, I just think it's probably best. So we're going to do that. And so I just think those of us who've decided that we're not taking trips and we're going to vacation maybe at home, maybe this is the perfect opportunity to make this a great moment for family and friends, and possibly teach a child how to bake a cake one day. They're going to remember that as much as they will if you go and do something expensive on a vacation. They just want your time and your presence. That's all they're looking for. So teach a child to bake a cake, or go visit an elderly parent or any relative you have who is fearful of going out at this time, because it seems to be affecting older people, and those who have their immune systems compromised are fearful. So take them dinner or take them lunch and visit with them and fill up their day. They're going to love you for that. So let's try to make it a little bit less fearful and more friendly and more loving, and spend that week that you would have spent on vacation doing something new every day. Even just clean out that closet that you've been trying to clean out, and just haven't taken the time to do it. You're going to feel great about that when you've finished. So I'm trying to not be fearful and not speak about this coronavirus as if it's something that is the all-ending disease, because that's not the case. It's just going to take a little time for people to become aware of the facts. And I also believe it's a time for us to turn off the TVs and not watch so much news, because a lot of the news is just repeated over and over, and then those who are watching it become really psyched up over it. And so it's just, I'm just shocked at what I saw yesterday. I think that's why I'm so concerned about what's going on. I could not imagine that people were that unthinking or that selfish to purchase so much that other people could use. So it was very disheartening for me to see that. Okay, I made it back just before the rain started. It's raining now. We are going to my house, and we're going to have our telephone conference with the travel agent about travel during the coronavirus outbreak. So let's call my travel advisor, because he's expecting to have a telephone conference with me about travel during all of the things that are going on in the world. So I'm going to give him a call and see if we can get some tips on what we should do. Oh, there he is. Hi, Mark. How are you doing? I'm doing great. I want to let you know that I'm videoing, so is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, great. Well, you know what's going on in the news, so I wanted to get your advice about travel, because all of us are planning spring break and summer vacations, and we're not quite sure what we should do. Can you help us?
Sure, I can try. I've had lots of practice last week.
I bet you have.
First of all, I think one of the main things that you need to tell your friends and people that ask you questions about it is to work closely with your travel agent, because they know you and your situation best. So I think the first thing you need to do is reach out to them.
Okay. For me, that would be calling you with advice.
That is true, yes. But, I know that you had said you had a lot of your friends ask questions. So, everybody's case is different. So if you're lucky enough to book through a travel advisor, call them first. And I think with you, when you're thinking about planning your travel, or if we've done something together, the first thing you probably need to do is have patience.
Oh, I can see how that could happen, because I'm sure all week you have been inundated with telephone calls.
Yes, and nowadays things change hourly. So what you were told today may change tomorrow. So I kind of call it gambling with your vacation, because if you're booked in a week, it's one thing, but if you're booked 5 or 6 weeks out, we have time to see how all the different situations evolve.
Okay.
And I think you got to give it some time too, because we're in an instant gratification world. So I think that knowing that it's going to take some time, because there's a lot of processes that you have to follow. It's kind of like putting a piece of a puzzle together.
Okay.
So you know how those puzzles can be. It takes a little time to solve some of those.
Right, especially if you have a complex trip where you have travel involving airlines, hotels, or cruises.
Right, because they're all booked. What a lot of people don't realize is because, a lot of clients have booked themselves in the past, but, your trips that I do for you, as you know, are customized. So, they're booked in individual components. So, it takes a little more time. It's real easy to book, but a lot of times when you have an issue, it's when you kind of separate the travel agent from the travel advisor.
Yes. Well, there's another call for you. See, I can tell you're busy.
Okay. That's okay. And then I think, another thing too, and you're really good about this, is follow the CDC and the State Department's guidelines.
That's true.
On traveling, because they have bulletins that they update hourly. I think with updates, it's very important to follow the CDC and State Department guidelines, and I believe that you can register and get updates to some of the places that you might be going. But
I wasn't aware of that, so I'm glad you told me.
Yeah, so one of the things that you also need to think about is, because this is kind of an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
So think about when you're going and where you're going. So where you're going, you don't want to automatically cancel your trip if you're traveling in the summer. You kind of want to think about where it is you're going. Is that area affected now, and what's it going to look like in 3 or 4 months?
So just hold out and don't panic and cancel everything right off the bat?
No, because right now the cancellation policies most of them are through April of this year. So, you don't want to jump the gun too much, because then there may be benefits that you could take advantage of later on down the road.
Okay.
So, just, and then you got to think about when you're going to, like I said, and then when you're if you're not traveling until the summer, my phrase right now is stay calm and travel on.
I like that. I like that
too.
Yeah.
And then I think the last thing that I would think about is, it sounds kind of silly, but I think you need to try to continue to plan your future travel and not let all of your travel dreams, so to speak, fall by the wayside, because hopefully this will pass and we'll all be traveling again soon.
Right. Well, you and I talked just yesterday about going to Santorini later in the summer, so I'm not giving up on my travel at all.
Right, and I think it's important not to, and I think you also need to realize that, with things like this, you never know. I can't promise or say for sure, but there may be some good travel deals in the future.
Oh, good. I love hearing that. Everybody wants a deal.
So stay tuned, and I'll try to help you plan that trip.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Thank you so much, and I'll be calling you.
Yeah, thank you for your business as usual.
Okay, talk to you later.
Okay, all right, bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was really useful information, and I'm so glad he could talk to us about travel with everything that's going on in the world. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you as a subscriber. So tap the subscribe button and follow me on Instagram. Bye.